But, my biggest advice to everyone at this moment in time is self-release and retain your independence. We were in the basement at Defected, and Sam just goes, "Oh, I've got some good news for you." I was like, "What?" "Oh, major label manager for Dvine Sounds." I was literally on the way flying back. The only thing I could get delivered in time was a yellow princess dress. So I've got the yellow princess dress in XXXL because I was thinking I'd rather it be too big than too small.
From it. Did you have any other DJ names before? Like,
Yeah. So I was always known as Blondie. So when I first started DJing, I dyed my hair blonde. I had long blonde hair. So if we sign a track, we might do a 50-50 deal, but there's artwork to consider. There's all these other things to consider, which are gonna obviously have to come off before we look at the profit on the record.
okay, so welcome back to another Rave podcast, and today I've got the one and only Mr. Cash Only. Thanks for joining me, mate.
Hello, mate. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, like I do with all my guests, I like to find out where you grew up, what life was like growing up, where you're from, and the early influences through your childhood that got you on that musical journey.
So I grew up in northwest London. So I was born in Watford, and then as a young kid, I spent some time in Milton Keynes, and then my family moved back to northwest London. So we lived in Harrow, but like my dad's side of the family, they're all from Queen's Park. So throughout my kind of early teens, I spent a lot of time around that area. And interestingly, my daddy was a printer. So he actually worked at the print works. So when I say to people, "Oh, my dad worked at a print works," they said, "Oh, what did he do there? Sound engineer?" I said, "No, he used to print the Daily Mail." So yeah, so it's funny when you see them pictures. My dad's like, "Oh yeah, that's where my office was." So that's like a little fun fact. But yeah, so I grew up in kind of Harrow, Kilburn, Queen's Park, northwest London, and yeah, there was a few moments in my teenage years where I really started to get into music and kind of aspire to want to be a DJ, I guess. I used to spend weekends, used to get the tube into London, go to Black Market Records, Uptown, Unity Records was one of my favourite places. Used to get all the flyers off the side and decorate my bedroom wall with them. It's just amazing just being in there, seeing all the DJs behind the decks, putting music on, like playing it to people saying, "Yeah, I love that," getting a pile of records, going to listen to them. So I was already doing that before I even had a set of decks. And I just used to love it. And then I remember someone was playing something on a Walkman and I listened to it. I said, "What's that?" It's like, it's house and garage, which I think like that was kind of what they were calling it before, UK garage. It's like, yeah, that's amazing. And at the time it was kind of more jungle, drum and bass was kind of doing the rounds. So I'd go to Wembley Market and I'd buy all the tape packs, Darren J, Mickey Finn.
Legends, man, yeah. Fabio Grooved.
Yeah, like all the AWOL days. So, I'd just go and buy tapes and kind of, yeah, jungle was my vibe at the beginning. And then obviously jungle kind of died out and garage took presence in the UK, especially London, where it was really the London sound. I remember buying Tough Jam, Volume 1, Matt Jam and Carl Tough Enough Brown.
Yeah.
And then as I got a bit older, going to see these guys at a place like Middlesex and Hearts, that was a very iconic place for me, sneaking in there when I was probably 17, probably 16 actually. I remember if you got in there early at 10 p.m, there was a vodka and orange juice for £1.50. So I used to get as many as them in as we could in the early doors. Seeing people like EZ, Matt Jam, Ray Hurley, all these kind of people at Middlesex and Hearts, which is not there anymore. And the Gas Club in London, again, and that was more central London. That was where like EZ really used to smash it, many weekends. So yeah, that was kind of my early raving years, and then managed to get a set of rickety old belt drive decks, which God knows how I used to mix on them, and started to buy vinyl. Places like Baseline Records in Kilburn, Vince, he used to own that. It was really sad actually, as kind of vinyl kind of days kind of finished, and I used to travel from up north because I live up north. and I've done for like, best part of 25, 30 years. I used to travel down to buy my vinyl, and then one day Baseline Records was shut, and it was just like, that was kind of, I guess, the first warning sign that vinyl was on its way out, and it was now all about CDJs and DJing from laptops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, used to go there. Freedom Records in Watford. I think they had one in Harrow. There was another place in Wealdstone as well. I can't remember what it was called, but that was I used to buy vinyl. And then when I was about 17, 18, I moved to Stoke-on-Trent. So Stoke-on-Trent didn't really have a clue what UK garage was, and that was the thing that I loved. And I loved to mix and play, and I had some 1210s, and it was a bit of a cultural shock really, because like everyone listened to house or hard house or trance, and like it just wasn't like my kind of music back then. It was totally different. But I managed to link up with a few like local guys, predominantly from the Afro-Caribbean community, that were kind of into like UK garage, because at that time a lot of the R&B tracks were starting to bootleg over into garage grooves. Mm-hmm. So I guess it was that like missing link for that kind of community to the house world. So yeah, we had like a little MC and DJ crew called the Magnificent Crew.
Nice.
And then we just put on little parties in community halls and in houses, and whatever, got a couple of 100 people. Done a few nights in nightclubs. And then as I got a bit older, in my early 20s, a guy who's now a business partner of mine, he owned some nightclubs, and he asked me to get him, I think it was Trevor Nelson. And I had the link with an agent who could get Trevor. So I started to program his clubs, predominantly across I guess, like the Spoonies, Trevor Nelson, Dream Teams, those kind of artists. And then, and that was kind of my first big break into promoting. On a Thursday night, we'd have best part of 1,000 people in a nightclub in Stoke-on-Trent. Nowadays, you don't have 1,000 people in the whole of Stoke-on-Trent city centre on a Saturday. So that's how much, there's a lot of talk about nightclub decline. So we would ram out this club. And then we started to do house nights as well. So we did Head Candy. We had Head, and it's weird actually. So John Jones, he was one of the main Head Candy DJs, and he's like a good power man now. He just got me a booking actually at 338. So big up John.
Oh, nice.
But so when I first met the wife, we went to we went to a private gig that John had got her, and I was like, I'm sure I know you. I was like, oh yeah. And then when I got home, I've still got the flyer, because I've got in our streaming room, we've got I've got a big picture with all my flyers from all the nights I ever promoted. Nice. And his name's on there. So Head Candy. And on the same night we did Head Candy, I also did who did I have? Chris Goldfinger and Heartless Crew, I think, down the road at another venue. So on one night, I had 3,000 people at one club and 3,000 people or in and outs at the other club. Made a serious amount of money, more the clubs did, because I was just like kind of paid as a promoter, but I was happy. It was amazing. I wish we made more of those days really, because like those days don't really, it's hard out there now to put nights on, no matter where you are, especially in like these more satellite towns. If you're in a major city, Manchester, Birmingham, London, maybe it's a bit easier. But these kind of satellite, if you're in Stoke-on-Trent, why are you going to go and see one DJ at one club with 200-300 people when you could go to a Wales project 40 minutes away and see, and go to just like, like a theme park of artists, you know what I mean? So it's tough out there at the moment, promoting wise. But yeah, that's basically my journey from first listening to music all the way through to when I first started DJing in clubs and promoting and whatnot. That was kind of the journey up to my early 20s, I guess.
It sounds good, man, because it sounds like similar to me. I grew up in a council estate, and there was nothing really there for us. I lived in a small island. People might have heard of it, called Isle of Sheppey. Not the nicest place, but it's just full of caravan parks and stuff. Yeah. And there's nothing really for me and my mates. And a lot of my mates were into drum and bass and jungle, and I got in it that way, right? But I went to school off the island because my mum wanted me to go to like a better school. And no one wanted to be friends with me because I was from that area. They were like, "Oh, don't hang around with him because he's stupid stereotype. But a lot of my a couple of my mates that I've made friends there, they were into garage, and I went around their house and they had their old hi-fi system and
Yeah,
garage. I think it was a garage tape.
yeah,
And
yeah,
whack it in. It was like Luck and MC Neat and all that sort of thing back in the day.
yeah.
And yeah, yours, like what you just explained there, kind of just reflects a little bit on like how it was for me growing up as well, because it's took me back, brought back some memories, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, tape pack days are amazing. I used to go to Bagley's, to Slamming Vinyl, United Dance, just get in that garage room. I used to get like a train from Stoke, get it to Euston. It's a couple of minutes walk from Euston. Well, almost 20 minutes walk to Bagley's. But it's now called the Goods Yard, I think. I love going there, and it's just like I just walk down it, and I imagine like I'm going raving again. Yeah, I used to go raving, and then 2 weeks later, you'd always get the tape pack. So yeah, I was they were fun days. I've lost all my tapes. I'm a bit gutted actually. I left them at my last house that I lived at, and I forgot to take them. So yeah, there's a lot of culture and heritage sitting in someone's basement at the moment, which yeah, I'm a bit gutted about. But yeah, tape back day, and it's mad how different it is how we consume music now. It's so easy to do so many things now. Like, you want to, back in the day, if you wanted to listen to Mickey Finn DJ, you had to go and buy a tape or a tape pack. Now I could type Mickey Finn in on the computer. I can listen to him on Facebook, Spotify, Amazon. Yeah, I could find YouTube, SoundCloud, Mixcloud. There's so many ways to consume music now, which is positive, but also, it kind of, when things are easy, people take stuff for granted. I think
They do, yeah.
it's a bit like the transition from a physical piece of vinyl through to something, electronic, which hasn't got any tangible feel to it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's kind of interesting times, I think, in the transition over the last 30 years from vinyl and tape pack days to where we are now, which is predominantly online.
What skills would you say like that you learned from learning the promotion? I know times are different back then to now, but like what skills did you learn like when you did the promoting and throwing the parties that you could like that made you benefit you now?
I mean, I think it was what we tried to do, and I think what people are trying to do now, and even myself as an artist, you're trying to build a community, a club. It's just called a club, a club. It's like a group of people. Let's get a group of people together, that can enjoy a commonality, which in this case is music and the programming of good music. So yeah, it was a lot of networking, a lot of building relationships with people and regulars. One of the most important things back then was to have a photo gallery page, because everyone would come to the night and then they'd like going online or Facebook or whatever and seeing their picture on Facebook after. That was really, really important. Again, the whole world of promotions has changed now. I'm going to start a new night. I was going to say next year, but we're in next year now, 2025.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start my own night soon. But it's a bit scary because the ways of promoting a night now are quite different. I'm learning a lot more about electronic music promotion. So how we're using socials and other bits and bobs, because what we used to do years ago is stand outside a nightclub with bits of paper at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I was even thinking, should we start flyering again? Do we need to start giving out bits of paper again to people? Or can we tell the world everything via, social media and advertisements that way? It's everything's changed. So yeah, I'm going to be, and then again, booking DJs is quite difficult as well, especially if you're trying to book who everyone wants in a place like London. A lot of DJs will be quite picky about how many times they play in certain territories and stuff like that. So yeah, it seems to be quite political with DJs at times, and yeah, I'm not quite sure how. I'm a little bit apprehensive about going back into the world of promoting, but we'll give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, just jump in there and just try and give it a go. And like you say, everything's changing. I want to go a little bit back, like to the cash only name. So where did that originate from? What was the inspiration from it? Did you have any other DJ names before? Like
Yeah. So I was always known as Blondie. So when I first started DJing, I dyed my hair blonde. I had long blonde hair. And so, yeah, I DJ somewhere once, and a guy who was MCing just called me Blondie. So, and that was, I think that was in Park Royal in, where's that? In Alperton Way in Northwest London.
Yeah.
Can't remember what the club was called. It was like an old, was it Zenith? It's called Zenith or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, he called me Blondie. So I went by Blondie or Blonsky or whatever for a while. But that was predominantly just with garage. And then obviously as garage kind of died out and I was playing in these other clubs, it was kind of that time when that kind of deep tech house kind of funky UK kind of era come about. And while I was doing all right, playing kind of multi-format just in clubs, it paid well, but it didn't really like speak to my soul. So, I wanted to have another kind of persona which could enter into another musical genre that I felt comfortable in. And as I say, house and trance and stuff like that then wasn't really my cup of tea. But kind of that kind of sound that was coming out of London, almost like the audio rehab type stuff, when everyone was shuffling, and then the UK funky kind of stuff. Again, that kind of bridged between garage and the house for me. So there's a local street artist in Stoke called Famous When Dead. And I always thought his work was amazing. And he had a piece of art for sale. And it's basically a face. And it's just got this, like the Cash Only logo on his face.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought, you know what? That's quite a good name for an artist. So originally Cash Only was me and an amazingly talented kid called Livo. He used to be a kid when we used to run creative youth projects. He was a kid that used to come and we give him access to a studio, and he was just immensely talented. And yeah, he made tracks with Sticky, who obviously made Boo with Miss Dynamite and amongst numerous other garage anthems. But yeah, the whole Cash Only name it's not anything to do with money. It's just a piece of art that I bought and I thought it was a cool artist name. But I think it's quite a clever and creative marketing tool now, because people around the world will tag me in Cash Only signs everywhere. And I think, since Corona and all this kind of like, we're moving into this digital society, and almost like it's a joke because I never have cash on me. So like, everyone's like, has anyone got any money? It's like, oh, Cash Only. He's never got cash on him. So yeah, it's card only. But yeah, it's almost like a what's the word? It's like it's quite satirical as well. I'm taking a mick with it as well. I'm like just taking a piss about modern day society and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where the name comes from. It's got nothing to do with money, which which sometimes people think it is. It's literally a piece of art that I bought, and I liked it, and yeah, that's what it is.
But it's good that you like you said, it kind of falls back to like when you said about promoting, and times are changing. Like now that, like you said, it's a good marketing name because people can tag you in that now, and it's kind of a good thing, right? Like you say,
the only problem though I've realised is I played a club just before Christmas, and I was headlining it, and some people turn up and they come with cash, and they said, "Oh, I thought we didn't know we would come to see Cash Only. We thought you had to pay Cash Only on the door."
Oh,
so what I've realised is I might have to start putting DJ Cash Only on the flyers, because I don't want to put people off. But they're just going to the club not necessarily to see me, and they, obviously when it's Cash Only, it can put you off. I don't go to some places like the local barbers because it's Cash Only. Like I don't have cash. Cash Only doesn't have cash on him.
Yeah, I use my phone most of the time. It's just like one of those.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't even take my wallet out. Apple Pay. That's it.
How was so you're really into art then, are you? Because I had a guy on called Junior Tomlin, and he used to design all the flyers back in the late 80s, early 90s for the Rave. So he used to airbrush them, and he said he used to take his bike. He used to ride to all the clubs and say, I'll design your things for you if you let me in for the night, and I'll design your flyers.
Yeah.
And he used to airbrush them and craft it all and everything for the flyers.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm big into art. I mean, we've got loads of decent bits of art in the house. We've got Tracy Emin. What else have we got? Robbie Waters. I mean, you probably don't know who these people are, but if anyone's into kind of modern, Robbie Waters is cool. I've met him.
Wow.
I've got I've got two Robbie Waters pieces actually. A good friend of ours. He's an art dealer. He's got this flat in central London. Like, and you think it's a normal flat, you go in it, it's got like 3-4 million quid's worth of art everywhere. He's got
Wow.
D-Face, Banksy's. It's just all on his walls. It's mad. So yeah, sometimes like he comes across bits and pieces, and like, and we buy it off him. But yeah, the whole kind of Cashoni and Famous When Dead. So I'm launching another record label this year called Famous When Dead, which again I think is quite satirical and a bit tongue in cheek, because I spend a lot of time speaking to artists who are wanting to get their music signed, and other guys that I meet on the road, and they're all so hungry for it, but actually by the time we actually make it, we'll probably be dead. So this a lot of people think that to make it as an artist, how does that happen? I mean, let's look at like Enzo Is Burning, for example. One big track, he blew up, and it's about how long can he stay relevant in the scenes, you know what I mean? Those kind of moments with people are few and far between. Most people that are out there, they've been, even Shermanology. I saw, Shermanology are massive right now, and he's a really cool guy, Andy, and Dorothy's cool as well. I've been on the road with them a few times this year, really nice people, but they haven't just come from nowhere. He was an MC, he was into garage, and garage MC, and I saw something on his Instagram earlier, him and his sister singing to Feli Legrand, like years ago. So, people, it takes a long time to get anywhere in this industry. And, I think that people just need to, have a bit of patience. Again, sometimes they think, oh, we signed a record to Dvine Sounds, it's going to change my life. It's not, it's just a building block. It's probably not going to be, the most groundbreaking of tunes. It's going to be good, but it's not going to be the thing that takes you from here to there and gets you 10 grand, bookings 100 times a year all around the world. There's a long, hard slog behind it. So yeah, set this record label up, Famous When Dead, and the whole point in that is to give emerging artists a bit more of a platform, to give myself a platform as well. So, I mean, I've done pretty well in terms of being back in music last 18 months. I had 9 tracks signed last year across 6 different labels.
Nice.
So that took a lot of work, and I've got 3 tracks signed this year, and the rest I'm just going to self-release on my own label. But the months when I've got things with other people, then I use that as an opportunity to push music that I play in my sets, and with people that I think are good at what they do, and I like what they do. But yeah, the ultimate aim is this whole Famous When Dead thing is to kind of fuse that kind of street art, modern day kind of dystopian, satirical vibe with music, and just create a community, around that. I've been doing, been selling merch as well that Famous When Dead's been designing, and that's been going down really well. It's just about building a community. Every person that I ever speak to, and managers of artists and whatnot, they're all, look, listen, you just got to build your community and get people to buy into you, and have fun is the main thing. So yeah, the whole art and music thing is a passion of mine. And again, you've got to do something different in this day and age. You can't just, it's not just about, oh, there's a video of Cashoni jumping up and down behind the decks with his top off again. That gets boring after the 20th time.
Mm-hmm.
We want what makes you different to another artist? Why should I listen to you? Why should I listen to your music? Do you know what I mean?
That kind of goes on to my next question when you mentioned the art and music. I mean, obviously, you mentioned about doing the youth programs and stuff like that, and mentioned that young kid was doing a lot of good art there as well. So, I mean, how did that all start with the whole community thing, youth thing?
Yeah, so I've been doing music for 30 years. I mean, a lot of people just think that I've come from nowhere, and it's like, oh, that's just Sam Devine's husband. Like he's just got a leg up. Well, it's not the case at all. I've been doing music, as I say, since I'm 45. So I've been into music since I was 15. So I've been into music for 30 years, and I've been involved in music in a work capacity for 25 years. So yeah, I've been a promoter, DJ, booker, tour manager. I was tour manager for a trance DJ called Andy Moore. We come to Canada actually a couple of times. Every time we used to come to Canada, there was riots.
What was that?
I think it was just coincidence.
Wow.
Edmonton, Montreal, where else? I can't remember. Yeah, we were all over. So yeah, and producer. So Cashoni made their first music in 2012. So Cashoni isn't a new thing. It's been I've just remastered the EP actually. I'm thinking about putting it out, but it's quite different musically to where we are now. So yeah, so in when was it? So 2009, so when I was DJing and promoting these nights, I had loads of time on my hands in the day, and I'm not one to like not work. So even when I was like 16, I used to work for McDonald's and Domino's Pizza and whatever. You know, in fact, my first pair of 1210s, I think I picked up. I borrowed a Domino's Pizza bike, drove it to Richer Sounds, and put the 1210s in the back of the pizza box.
Yeah.
So yeah, so in 2009, because we were busy with the DJing, but we had loads of time on our hands in the day. So I wanted to kind of do something community based. So we set up this kind of, we just like an open mic session where we got loads of kids off the streets. And I mean, Stoke-on-Trent was the 16th most deprived city in the whole of the UK. So a lot of deprivation. It's like 30% of people don't go to work, you know, huge amounts of people on benefits. You know, at that moment in time as well, there was 5 BNP councillors. So, you know, that was the state of play in that community. You know, it's like quite an unharmonious, almost racist place to live in many respects, you know. So we recognised that there was loads of kids on the streets not really doing a lot. So me and a guy that I've worked with for 20 odd years, Professor X, he's also a DJ, not the X-Men. Yeah, so we set up like a youth club, just got the deck set up, got the mic out, and loads of kids just turned up and started MCing. And it was a vibe. And then we had a guy that turned up that was also a DJ. So we had a chance to DJ in front of his street. It was just a recording studio. It was once a week. We just had a jam. And then loads of girls started to come because the girls were following the boys. And then that kind of snowballed into like a youth club where we had sessions for the girls where they were doing like nails and art and graffiti and whatever. And the guys were making music and MCing and blah, blah, blah. So it's like a really innovative kind of creative youth club. And we were just doing this, like, you know, for free, just like to keep ourselves busy. But it kind of snowballed and got really busy because the local council saw that we had a very unique way of engaging with kids. So the councils had all the money and all the services and all the facilities, but they couldn't engage with the children. We could. So they kind of started to commission us to engage with these groups in who were quite disadvantaged and hard to reach groups, I suppose you could call them. And once we engaged with them, we then signposted them to things like education, employment and training opportunities. So if they were 19 and unemployed, then we would engage with them and then we'd give them a bit of advice for, why don't you apply for a job here? Or this is actually how you apply for a job. Because some of these kids, like they're coming from very, you know, difficult, impoverished backgrounds. So we would mentor and coach them alongside giving them creative opportunities. And it kept snowballing. Vodafone then give us some corporate sponsorship for Creative Academy. Yeah, they donated, I think it was like 12 grand to what we called the Creative Academy. So we just got like an old shop and kind of put like iMacs in there, loaded them up with Logic and Photoshop and Illustrator and stuff like that. And, you know, the kids could come there and use them. We would get them qualifications, like level 3 qualifications in the arts and even level 1 and 2 English and maths, because a lot of kids had not even finished school. Robbie Williams donated 30 grand to us for a youth club. So basically, so Robbie's from Stoke, and he was actually, strangely, the little town in Stoke called Burslem was the town where Robbie used to hang around when he was a kid. So Comic Relief donated us about 30 odd grand through his fund that he had that they were delivering on his and his mum's behalf. Yeah. And one day we had a phone call and it says, we've got a visitor tomorrow. We can't tell you who it is, but blah, blah, blah. So, who's this? And then I twigged, oh my God, Robbie Williams is going to come. So yeah, out of nowhere, the next day Robbie Williams turned up and he was cool, you know, he was hanging around with the kids. Like, he even knew some of the kids' mums. That's like, so cool, that's how mad it was. And he was cool. He took time to take interest into the music that they had made and the art that they had made and blah, blah, blah. That was quite a surreal moment. And so anyway, so this kept evolving, but it started to kind of get busier and busier. So we decided to set up, an independent school. So we, alongside the community youth project, we also decided to set up like a private business, because all of that was like, we were all doing that totally charitable. But we realized that actually we had to kind of, if we were going to throw it all into this, then we also had to take a wage in some way, shape or form. So we set up an independent school. That was Ofsted registered.
That's cool.
And, yeah. So we'd do like a creative curriculum. So if you were kicked out of school predominantly, or, you know, if you had a special need, a school couldn't provide for, then you could come to our school. And predominantly, while we were registered as an independent special school, we didn't necessarily, we catered predominantly for children with emotional and social difficulties. So in essence, behavioural problems. You know, a lot of people would label these kids as naughty kids. They're not necessarily naughty. It's just that, you know, that they couldn't necessarily help the circumstances that they were in when they, you know, me, I didn't even turn up to my maths GCSE, but I didn't even care. All I wanted to do was work and earn money. Because when I was young, on your 16th birthday, you could get a job in like anywhere, like even, but now you have to wait, don't you, until your school's finished or whatever.
Yeah,
I didn't care. I just wanted to work. So I didn't even, I left school with 4 GCSEs. So, you know, and people would have called me a naughty kid. I was a bit naughty, but just school wasn't for me. I just wanted to work and earn money, and, you know, and I think thankfully all these years later, I think, you know, the government understands that children learn differently. And people, you know, we're all good at different things. And, you know, and as we talked about just before, you know, unfortunately in the UK, there isn't the best provision for children out there who do have certain needs and complexities, which is quite sad.
Yeah, like my son, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and, you know, and that is, you know, and even my daughter's been homeschooled from when she was 10. And, you know, I think my preferred option would be for her to be in, you know, in mainstream school, but it's just not for her for whatever reason. But I've no doubt that of all the kids, she'll do amazing. See, she's had 3 businesses. She's only 15. Yeah. So I think she's selling crystals, selling crystals, selling candles and something else. But yeah, so she's cool. As long as she's safe and, you know, and that it's all good. So anyway, so we had this independent school. And then, so while this was all happening, it was getting quite difficult to still do music. So Cash only kind of started, and then I had to put the brakes on, because from 2009 to 2019, we built up probably the biggest independent provider of residential social care and education in the Northwest and West Midlands. And we sold that business in 2019. So we kept the kind of charitable side, the community side, and we named it all after Unity, the record shop. So for me, Unity Records was a place where I felt like positive and motivated and just like inspired and safe. And I thought it was quite a good name for a business which was doing the kind of stuff that we were doing, in essence, bringing people together from different communities, empowering them and inspiring them. So we called the business Unity. So we had the Unity Foundation, which run a lot of community arts projects and empowerment to kids who are disadvantaged, etc. Then we had Unity Independent School, and then Unity Residential Care. So we grew that from literally 6 members of staff to, I think we employed 180 staff at the end.
Wow.
Over 14 houses, looking after about 40 odd kids. And yeah, it was amazing. You know, we had some real positive stories.
That's such a cool thing, mate, because like I say, when I was a kid, there was nothing like that about. There was nothing, you know, we literally just had to play Kirby or play music and stuff, right? And the fact that, because your story actually just like, it so resonates with me, because when I was 16, I did shit at school. Just wasn't interested, didn't like it. And when I was 16, I started doing like Indian delivery takeaways. Indian takeaway deliveries. Yeah. And then, you know, started delivering food and all that. And then I worked on the markets when I was a kid, selling Rizzler papers and lighters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I got into just doing electrical work. But, you know, it's amazing to hear like you doing that. It's like, hats off to you for doing that, because that's so cool, like real proper cool. Like, because there's nothing.
It's been interesting. Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of sad that we don't do it anymore. Because, yeah, I mean, the first child that we ever looked after in one of our children's homes, and children's homes nowadays, they're not they're not these big like 10-bedded units that are quite, sterile and, like how people depict them. A children's home now is literally like a 3-bedded house where 2 children live in it with staff. And they're looked after in essence by staff that they stay for 2 days, then another 2 staff come and they rotate like that. Because it's not their fault that they're in residential care. And why should they be treated any different? So the world of residential care has changed, but it's actually quite sad and actually quite amazing. The first child we ever looked after in one of our care homes, we did a big art exhibition with her. She was really into photography, and that was really cool. For her to have her own exhibition at 16, so even though she had all the things against her, was really was amazing thing to. I've still got pieces of the art now.
That's cool, mate.
Upstairs, yeah. But so then she moved to London, and she was a model for Fenty, which is Rihanna's brand.
Yeah.
So she was like on the sides of buses and everything.
So cool.
But unfortunately, last year we found out that she passed away.
Oh,
so yeah, it was quite sad. I don't know the ins and outs, but yes,
no,
quite sad.
Yeah, it's sad to hear, but it kind of goes back to my question where with the timing. So, was you learning producing while you was in these camps and like in these group clubs as well to teach kids, or when did you start producing?
Well, I started producing years ago, like back when it was Cubase days. I mean, people still use Cubase, but or even Reason, was it? Like the virtual
Reason
thing.
still.
Yeah. I used to you could press the tab button, couldn't you, and like turn it around and like move all the wires around.
Yeah, I was probably before.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't really know if I knew what I was doing back then, but yeah. So yeah, no, I've always been into making music, but so from 2009 to 2019, I kind of Cash only started in 2012, but that company there that got so busy and so big, I was the chief exec. So as I say, 180 staff, 40 odd children, 14 houses. It was really, I just couldn't do anything else. I had to concentrate on that. So I pretty much gave up music. As soon as Cash only started, I kind of gave it up. And then in 2019, when I sold the business, I was then able to go back into it. And this time using Ableton. But yeah, it was just too hectic. And I mean, obviously the whole music, world has shifted and changed in those 10 years anyway. Even moving from vinyl to, buying music on things like Beatport and Traxsource is totally different. So yeah, that's why Cash Only's only kind of just come back. So 2019 sold the business, and then, December 2019, retired basically at 40. And then, March 2020, Corona hit. So it was like, right, you never have to work again. You're very comfortable, do what you want, go around the world. And then Corona hit. It's like, you got to stay in your house. It's like, what?
Yeah, the infamous vid.
I even had to go back. So then the company that I sold, they called me up a couple of months later and said, can you come back and help us? So I was like, well, yeah, I'm not, I want this much money, pay me this much money and I'll come back and do it. So I went back to work for them for 10 weeks. But it's like, what can I do?
Yeah, definitely.
So then my plan was to go to Ibiza and to just rent some decks and sound system and just rediscover music, just sort out all my crates and just get loads of record box playlists together. But yeah, I did go to Ibiza, but I only lasted a month there, month or two, because it was just too difficult they kept changing rules with Corona, didn't they? Like with traveling, and the kids couldn't come out as easy as they had to quarantine and all this nonsense. So yeah, that put that idea to bed. And then, just kind of dabbled a bit with music in Corona, and then met the wife nearly 3 years ago. And then she was like, you haven't really got a job, so why don't you go back and make music?
Yeah.
So sometimes I think she wished she never inspired me to do that, because now, like anything I do, I'm relentless. So, I'm just at it constantly. And yeah, I'm just trying hard to, so I don't know. I'm not, I don't even actually, as an artist, want to be like the next, I don't know, Sonny Fodera or whoever. Pick a name out of a hat. I'm all right doing what I'm doing, as long as I'm having fun, as long as it keeps me busy. when it stops being fun and when it starts like, you know,
Feeling like a chore.
you feel like a chore, then it's time to knock it on the head.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where would you say your favorite like places you've ever DJ'd, like from the first to the most recent, like the difference between that? Because some people like myself, I've played in like people's houses, and did all the 16-year-olds birthday parties when I was a kid, and what was like the best one that stood out to you the most?
I mean, you know, years ago, I can't really remember what I did. I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone 25 years ago. But, you know, I remember we had, for our promotion, I think it was the second birthday, and I played back to back with Mike Roughcut Lloyd. So, because I was booking the talent for the show, I was like, right, well, I'm going to be a bit selfish here. I love Mike Roughcut Lloyd. He's amazing. I want to play back to back with him. So I booked him just to do that. So that was quite memorable. I think I was like hanging the life out of the place because I was so nervous, but you know, yeah. And then most recently, there was one weekend actually, which was like, it was pretty hard work. So I had a show in Amsterdam, a festival called Vaulty-Fest. Now you can't get into Vaulty-Fest unless you're wearing fancy dress. So I was in Vegas and I forgot. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? So I went onto Amazon, and the only thing that I could get delivered in time, because I was literally on the way flying back, the only thing I could get delivered in time was a yellow princess dress. So I've got the yellow princess dress in XXXL because I was thinking I'd rather it be too big than too small.
Yeah.
And so literally landed back from Vegas, and the Barbie, the princess, it was Belle from Beauty and the Beast because it's a yellow one. Someone told me. I don't know. You know, apparently the like blue is Cinderella. Anyway, enough about Disney princesses. So I went to Vaulty-Fest dressed as Belle from Beauty and the Beast and DJ'd in it. If you look at my Instagram, Cash Only No Cards, you can see some funny videos of me DJing in this yellow Barbie dress, yellow princess dress. But that was probably the most amazing gig ever. Yeah. And big up G over there, the promoter. I've got a track coming out with him this year. Actually, he's another sick like garage DJ, but he also makes house. We got a tune called Energy Inside, which is coming out this year. He's a good guy. Yeah, he booked me for AD as well. So yeah, really nice guy over in Amsterdam. So we did that show, and then flew back to Heathrow because I was doing Reading Festival for Jägermeister. Yeah. And again, I have to big up Peter TDK because that was another sick gig. So literally landed back to Heathrow, got the train to Reading, and then got a taxi to Reading Festival. And I was a bit worse for wear because it was a bit of a heavy one in Amsterdam the day before. And I just had to drink a lot of Jägermeister to get through it because I think I landed there about 2 and I wasn't playing until about 7 or 8. Yeah. So yeah, and then that show was also that weekend. That whole weekend was incredible. That Jägermeister tent at Reading Festival was really sick. So yeah, played 2 of the best shows of my life there. But another place I like playing is Corsica Studios. Oh, so we do a Thursday there now and then for the Insomnia guys. And yeah, it's just sick, dark. Like, people in there just smoking fags and just like it's just mad. It's wicked. The crowd are wicked, and the sound system sick. The monitors are just 2 big turbo sound things. Like I always leave there deaf. But yeah, that's a really sick place to play, and it's called I like them intimate ones. I was going to ask you this actually, what your favorite kind of vibe is in like DJing. Yeah. I mean, I've just told you my 2 best gigs I've ever played is, and I mean, I played Glastonbury. I haven't even mentioned that. Oh, you know what I mean? I played Glastonbury twice. I played, wow. So the first year, me and Sam played back to back, in a little container, and then she played, I can't remember what the stage was called, as a back to back with Melee and Monkey, I think. Oh yeah. And then the second year we played so Sam played for Defected back to back with Gorgon City and Ariel 3, I think. And then a few days later in Shangri-La. So have you been to Glasgow? I haven't, but my cousin got tickets after 6 years of trying. So in Glastonbury, the after party spot is called Shangri-La. So that's where everyone goes at until like 5, 6 in the morning. So we played the second to last closing set in Shangri-La, me and Sam back to back. But it was just very overawing for me to play. It was like, not only is it's very scary playing back to back with the wife because of who she is. Although I remember the first time I had to DJ in front of her, I was like, shit myself. Now it's a bit easier.
That's more of like the husband and wife sort of thing you're more worried about, I guess.
Yeah. But then, so we played. It was really weird. We played after, was it after Opidan and before Badger? So I was like, what are we going to play? So she's like, don't worry, we'll work it out. So we're doing our set list, and like, basically, I was just thinking we were going to have to play a load of speed garage. But no, we ended up, just played a few anthems. We just mixed it up. But I was sober as a judge, so it's like, I try not to be drunk when I'm DJing, but at the same time, I could do with like a drink, like a couple of beers, just to take the edge off.
Yeah.
Because it can be quite scary, especially playing such a big set at Glasgow. So I was sober, and then we were also driving back an hour later in the camper van. So it was just it was a bit of hard work, but you can't not do them things. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm very grateful again. Big up Katie, the booker for Shangri-La. I'm looking forward to what we're doing this year. Hopefully be back there. We normally are. But yeah, anyway, the point I'm making is that I prefer those intimate ones where you can touch the crowd. But the three shows I've talked to you about there, Glastonbury, Vaulty-Fest and Reading, they're all on stages. So there's a detachment from the crowd.
Yep.
I like to, even the egg, then that's not a bad set up in the middle floor, because, you've got people there with their hands over in the booth and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I like them intimate ones. And Corsica Studios, literally like, it's kind of boiler room vibes. And, I love
you got 300 people in it or something.
Yeah, I mean, probably not even that in the room that we play. Probably 200, like even 100 in there. It's, it feels good. But yeah, and they're all having it off. Like, it's brilliant. As I say, like, kind of anything goes there. And yeah, I much prefer the intimate ones. The whole stage thing. I mean, I get it, but like, I prefer the intimate ones. I'm grateful to play anywhere, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyone that asks me to play anywhere, I'm always grateful for.
What's been like the most like, because social media paints this whole, it's a highlight reel on social media, but what's been like the most challenging part, like DJing and traveling to these places that you've come across? Because like I say, everyone sees the whole glorification on social media, but they don't see the grunt work behind it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard now. I mean, we're not even DJs anymore. I don't think we're content creators, which is quite sad. Like, I'll spend more time making content than in the studio. Like, it's, and nowadays when I'm in the studio, I have a whole different approach where I have a team of people, in there. I have engineers, songwriters, singers, sometimes I'll even have, professional musicians in there, like keyboard players, etc. Just because I can't keep on top of my own production skills as best I can when I'm on the road as much as what I am. So yeah, it's difficult really. And we are content creators nowadays, unfortunately. It is a sad, and for me, again, being, 45, I'm probably not going to be doing this for a huge amount of time, longer. Like, what do I want to be known for? Do I want to be known for that silly viral TikTok dance? Or do I want to get known for, that fella made a sick tune, and all we are doing as artists and producers is all we're doing is like buying raffle tickets in essence. If I put out 10 tunes a year and I'm going to do this for maybe another 5 years, because maybe at 50, I'm going to want to do jigsaws and, go to Royal British Legion or something rather than raves. I've got 50 more raffle tickets left for someone to go, yeah, that's amazing. We need to make that on the Radio 1, A-list, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult, and traveling is really difficult. People think this whole glamorous lifestyle. Everyone wants to be a DJ, or a lot of people want to be a DJ. But let me tell you, there's a lot of hard work and stress and tiredness, and it's not the one. Like in January, I've taken the whole of January. I mean, I've only done 40 shows this year. The wife's done 120, I think.
Wow.
And I mean, I've gone to maybe 70% of those shows as well as doing my own ones. I mean, some we'll do together. But yeah, it's hard enough being a bloke, being on tour, let alone being a female. Being a female DJ, sometimes she'll land back stuff to do with hair, nails, all sorts of stuff. Think about what clothes you're gonna wear. We're all right. Just chuck a black t-shirt on.
Yeah, t-shirt,
Don't
cap,
matter.
that's it.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, cap. Oh yeah, I've got to wear a cap now as well because I'm going bald. You know, in them DJ videos from
Oh, right.
behind.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
mate, no, I'm like the spot on the back. So like, yeah, my business partner the other week, he go, "You going bald?" So no. He's like, "You are. Have a look at this video of you DJing from behind."
That's
So
why I
now
got the
it's a
full
cap.
fringe.
Yeah. And
That's my
also,
wife.
like the hair, when you've got your headphones on, your hair goes everywhere. So like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just think a cap. Always got a DJ in a cap.
I said to
Yeah,
my
and
wife,
if I forget it,
I said to my wife, I might take a trip to Turkey and get my receding spots sorted out.
yeah, mate, trust me, yeah, it's happening.
So where would be, obviously you've traveled a lot, like you've traveled a lot around the world. Where would you say the best place in the world, like country you've played at that's welcomed you the best, or like the best sort of scene and vibe? What stood out to you the most country?
I think the Dutch crowd are sick. Even all the times I've played in Amsterdam, yeah, they tend to go for it. They're a little bit more headsy, I think, in terms of with the music that they like. Yeah, I've been all over Brazil. I mean, I haven't played in Brazil, but Sam has played after Claptone on in the harbour at sunrise at like 6 a.m. It was raining and just the crowd were just loving it. They were having it off. And this big cruise ship come past at one stage. It was a moment. I think the Brazil crowds stick out. Not sure about America. Not sure about American crowds are sometimes a bit hit or miss.
Okay.
I think for me the Dutch crowd, I've got quite a few fans in Amsterdam from the shows that I played. People often reach out and ask when I'm coming back, etc. So yeah, I think that
The Dutch, eh?
yeah.
That's cool, mate. It kind of goes on to my next question then, of regards to your record label and being a label manager, and producing and DJing, juggling all this stuff is a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
being a father and a husband and stuff. Like, how do you, first of all, how did you get your label sort of going up and starting and becoming a label manager of Dvine Sounds? And, juggling that time, finding people or people sending you stuff, going through everything, managing everything like that. I mean, obviously you've got some experience from your previous job, running a team and everything like that. But how did you do it, and like, what does it entail on a day-to-day basis for you?
So Dvine Sounds was started originally by bloody hell. So Dvine Sounds was started originally by Sam and Jess Bays and Camilla, one of Sam's best friends.
Yes.
So yeah, so I don't know. I think we've put out about 60, 70 records. So it's 10 years old this year. We're going to do a big show at 338, I think, hopefully at the end of the year. Although it's not confirmed yet, but that's the idea. And yeah, them guys run it. And then in Corona, Sam sold part of it to Defected. And then it didn't really do a lot for a while. And then Defected changed ownership. So Simon Dunmore sold it. And then they started to bring it back to life. And actually the first thing really to kick it back on was a Jess Bays remix of God Made Me Funky. So they kind of just would send records to Sam, say, do you think this is a good fit for the label? Should we sign it? I guess if they get so many demos that Defected, if they can put it out on another imprint and it works and it fits, then why not?
Yeah.
That was just happening. And then I was helping. And then one day we were in the basement at Defected and Sam just goes, "Oh, I've got some good news for you." I was like, "What?" "Oh, made you label manager for Dvine Sounds." I was like, "Oh, right, okay." So I just kind of got given it. I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong. And I'm grateful that all the work that I was putting into it got recognised and they felt that I was able and worthy enough to do it. So I just kind of got plonked into there. And yeah, it's been a massive learning curve. I don't know everything, but I'm a fast learner. So yeah, we put out, I don't know, about 12, 13 records last year, and we done a sampler as well. And yeah, it's a difficult one being a label manager, really. People kind of pin their hopes on you signing their record a lot of the time. And unfortunately, we get probably 10,000 records a year. So
Wow.
we only put out 10 records a year. And we have to put out records that have got crossover potential. So, is it going to be big on the underground? Could it potentially blow up and make us some decent money at the end of the day? Because it's not, there's not a lot of money in music, certainly at kind of that level. Does it have cultural significance? So obviously for us, it's a female-led label, even though I manage the label. We need to be supporting more females and more diversity, which is difficult because it's hard enough to get good demos from anywhere, let alone to, siphon off a small part of people who make music which are female and try and get quality music from there. But I'm pleased to say we've definitely got one big record from Laura and Sasha Gigi that comes out in March, I think, and we're celebrating International Women's Day with it as well, with a live broadcast in the basement at Defected. So that'd be pretty cool.
Is that Laura that I had on?
Yeah, I think so. So lau.ra.
Yeah, I had Laura, and she's great, man.
Yeah.
She's wicked,
She's amazing. Yeah, she's sick. And she makes sick music as well. Like, she's like, where's she getting bass lines from? She's so cool. So, I met up with her and Andrew from Nervous, actually, just before one of the Defected shows at Ushuaia last year, just to meet up and get to know her, really. And also I've had a record on Nervous. I've got another one coming out in Nervous, I think in March. So yeah, always good to catch up with the people that run the labels. Because while I'm a label manager as well, obviously I'm still my own releasing artist. I had 2 tracks on Dvine Sounds last year. I'll probably have another 1 or 2 this year, but it's not all about me. And I need to release my own music on different imprints as well, which is one of the main reasons why I set up a separate label to predominantly self-release. Often when you're pitching demos to people, I feel like I'm a double glazing salesman, like knocking on your door and asking if I can piss on your kids. Like, I'm just trying to get you to hear my music. I get it, it's difficult. So I will still pitch my music to people, but I'm a big believer that your biggest demo is your most recent release. So like if you're a proactive A&R, you will find, like, for example, there's a track we signed from a guy called Lefty. He's from New York. So I don't know if you know who Lefty is.
I've heard of it.
So he'd done a Deep Inside edit, which is sick. Sam opened Tomorrowland with it. Like, that's how much she rates the tune, and we rate it. But we found out about Lefty because there was a bootleg that we had from him of a record called B, and we were both playing that quite a lot. So I reached out to Lefty. I was like, "Hello, mate. Got any demos?" And he sent me a load of edits and demos. And we were hammering the Deep Inside one, and started to think maybe we could clear that, because I know Mark Cottrell cleared it for a release that he did on his label. So if Mark Cottrell can clear it, surely we can clear it. So we got the team at Defected to reach out to Louis Vega, etc. And we've got it cleared. They retained the majority of the money from it, which is fine, because without that sample, it wouldn't be the record that it is. But it's still worth putting out, because it's helpful for the label and it's helpful for Lefty as an artist. And we're quite proud that we broke, or we were one of the people that broke that record alongside people like Claptone and whoever else. It was literally a free edit out on SoundCloud. I said, right, you need to take that down ASAP, and we need to try and get this out. So there's an interesting story on how we signed a record from Lefty. It wasn't necessarily from a demo that was just sent in. To be honest with you, probably 50% of the records that we ever put out won't necessarily be from demos that are sent in. Yeah. So if you think about how many demos we receive and how many we actually sign, the percentages are even less now, because we're more proactively going after people that we want to sign records from. Mm-hmm. So we got a Lefty record, that Deep Inside. I think that comes out in February. We've got a Laura and Sasha Gigi record, which comes out in March. And then we've got some more irons in the fire. Guy Burns, another producer. So there was he made a bootleg of Hold Your Head Up High, Boris de Glosch. Yep. an old garage anthem. So I was hammering it, and the reactions were just so sick. Actually, so Sam played back to back with Danny Howard, and I was like, "Oh, hey, who made that?" So Sam got it for me from Danny, and then I was just hammering the tune. So obviously then I wanted a record from Guy, and he made this track, and again we got it all cleared and resung and everything, and yeah, that's coming out this year as well. So yeah, the way we sign records, as I say, a lot of people, I think they pin their hopes on, I'm going to send a record in and it's going to get signed and that's going to change my life. It's probably not going to change your life. It's just another building block. And don't get me wrong, to have the video of Sam Dvine playing your record to, all these people is cool. But again, it's not going to like make you famous. Like, it's good, but it's just another building block. Like, I think a lot of people need to just relax a little bit and have a bit more patience with the process. As we say, people like Shermanology, who are big right now, they didn't just turn up. They didn't just, like, even Sam herself didn't just turn up out of nowhere. She was giving out bits of paper, flyers in the West End and Ibiza, from an early age, and grafted and worked 7 days a week, DJing in bars and working in record shops and, earning little to no money, literally earning petrol money. Do you know what I mean? There's a long, hard road, and it's a little frustrating sometimes when people constantly on you to sign a record from them. It almost to the point where it might put you off. So there is a bit of the psychology as well to getting records signed, I think. But music is very subjective. You could send me a record now, and it might be the best record ever. But if I'm not in a good mood, or I'm not, the best way to A&R probably is in the car, because you need something to tick over the time. We've got a 6 sound system in the car. So, that's probably the best time. Or, the worst time to someone sent me a demo on Sunday morning the other day. And I was like, listen, I'm a 24-hour, 365 day of the year kind of guy. You send me music anytime you want, but is sending a demo on Sunday morning, like, really, like, the best thing to do?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, my biggest advice to everyone at this moment in time is self-release and retain your independence. Because even at Dvine Sounds, we're going to take a large chunk of that record from you. And yeah, we're going to work it and we're going to pitch it and we're going to get it support and we're going to get you the video of Sam playing it and blah, blah, blah. But, it's like, you're probably not going to earn a huge amount of money from the record. And like, even with me, when I sign tracks to other labels, I'll always put money behind, playlists or promo campaigns and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get that money back. But for me as an artist, I feel it's important to keep elevating. And I think the main focus for me as an artist has been as well to not just be seen as, Sam Dvine's husband. I've had to work very hard to be seen as an artist in my own right. Almost like I want validation that it's not just, he's not just here because of that reason. And I think after, nearly 2 years back at it, I've got 50K monthly listeners on Spotify. I've had number ones on Traxsource and Beatport and blah, blah, blah. As I say, it takes time, put out 13, 14 records. It does take time. And it's only now where it's starting to get like, okay, well, maybe he's an artist in his own right. And, they don't think of me as just, he's there because of whatever reason.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's good that you, like I say, man, like when it's a chore, you feel like it should be, give it up. And the fact that you say it's like a stepping stone for everything, like just keep going and going because you love it and it's passionate. That's the way like you said, it should be, right? And and like, it kind of goes into my question with like your process in the studio. Like, what sort of plugins do you use? Like, what's your producing sort of process, and how do you go from start to track to mastering it to then distributing it, and that process,
So typically, because we're so busy and we need to do things in short windows, I'll typically sketch an idea out on a laptop on Ableton and whatnot, and then I'll work with an engineer or a couple of engineers in the studio. We might, as I say, we might have 4 or 5 people in the room. We did a big writing camp in the Tile Yard last January. Wrote some records with big vocalists. Ra got a really sick record with Ra that comes out this year called Summer Breeze. Alex Mills was there. Rains, another amazing track. I'll send you a SoundCloud link after, actually, to all the stuff that's coming out.
Mills.
Yeah. Alex Mills is I tell her she's the GOAT. Like, listen, that she's sick. Like in the studio, she's just switched on. Right, yeah, I want my voice like this. But honestly, she is a pleasure to work with. And there's a record I put out with her on it called Body to Body last year. Unfortunately, she wasn't a featured artist on it. But we've got it's me, Scott Garcia, and her. We made this speed garage thing.
Scott Garcia, yeah, legend.
Yeah. Well, I just put, well, Scott's a good mate of mine. Actually, that's how I met Sam, because I was with Scott. So me and Scott, we used to run this the London thing, and Scott said, I've got a gig at IB for Rocks, do you want to come? I was like, yeah, okay then, I'll come. So yeah, nearly didn't make it. Turned up, it was that time when the airport was, the airports had queues going out the door. Do you know them times?
Yeah.
Like a couple of years, about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ready to give up. I was ready to go home, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Got to Ibiza, went to Ibiza Rocks, got levered, went to Ocean Beach, linked up with Artful Dodger. They were there as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's me, Scott, Artful Dodger, and then we ended up going to Plastic. And anyone who goes to Ibiza a lot will remember Plastic when it was by the Egg. And most of you will also remember Andy Matthews from Plastic. So Plastic by the Egg is no more, but it's in San Antonio Bay. And a visit to Ibiza is not complete without going to see Andy. He is the number one host in Ibiza. He's incredible at what he does. And yeah, he's just got a place up in the San Antonio Bay. So me and Scott, we ended up going up there, bumped into DJ Q, and then there was a girl on the sofa with long blonde hair. And I said to Scott, I swear that's Sam Dvine. He said, oh yeah, it is. I didn't really know a lot about Sam at the time, because I was like, house wasn't really like my world. It was, I was listening to all, like, I'd be listening to like Benji B and Giles Peterson and like all sorts of, my music taste goes everywhere from kind of off-key eclectic African jazz all the way through to like 160 BPM techno. I listen to any good music is good music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look at, and even me from a production style, you can listen to a record of mine and say, oh yeah, that's a cash-only record. Like, they're all very, very different. And as we enter in the next few months, you're going to hear a lot more Afro-inspired things from me, which obviously, the whole Kai Music thing at the moment is huge. But I was on that before I even knew who Kai Music was. Like, I didn't even realize it was a thing until probably 6 months ago, if I'm honest. Obviously, I knew who Ramper and Adam Port were and stuff like that, but I didn't know that this whole Kai Music thing was a thing until I started seeing everyone wearing all the handkerchiefs over their heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, we'll go back to the original point in a minute. But yeah, that's interestingly how I met Sam was through Scott Garcia, because he was talking to her, and then I ended up going over talking to her, and then yeah, we kind of been inseparable ever since. But anyway, back to the question about production. So yeah, because we're so busy, we typically do writing camps. So in a writing camp, we'll have a couple of engineers, we might have some songwriters there, we'll have different vocalists, and we'll just grind out a load of ideas. Because you'll notice from most of my music, it's all vocals. There's not really any instrumentals in there. There's a couple of the garagey ones, which kind of are like vocal chops or samples, but predominantly they're songs. Because for me, I want people to sing along to my music. I think it's a lot better when you've got vocalists on a track. Yeah. So the creative process is predominantly a little bit, I guess, how Kanye West makes his music. Like Kanye West. I was reading something the other week that Hudson Mohawk, who does a lot of his bass lines on good is it Good Music? Is imprint Kanye's? He'll just get the best people in the room, and it doesn't necessarily matter to me if I'm not the one always pressing all the buttons, as long as I'm guiding the track and I'm, I've got the best. Right. I need a piano riff. Right. Can you play me something a little bit like this? Here's your reference. Dun, 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 dun. Right. Yeah. Right. Now we'll throw that in. Right. I need a vocal. You guys write the vocal while we're working up the drums and working up the beat, etc. So yeah, in the last 18 months, worked with a lot of incredible vocalists, worked with a lot of amazing engineers. Jason Hurd from Hurd and Fitz, who made Just Can't Get Enough. So that was a big anthem. I still play it. I play it in my sets now, pretty much every set. So Jason, some of my early stuff when I come back as cash only, was with him. Who else? Alexander, or Xander Club. So he used to work for Label Works. He's artist in his own right. Tactics from Bad Boy Chiller Crew. Done a record with him. That was the Alex Mills record, actually. It was weird. The only person's name that ended up being on the record was mine, but for one reason or another, the other artists weren't able to put their names on. But that's the music game sometimes.
Yeah.
What else do I work with? Martin Soul, Mason Miles. So he's sick. I was in the studio with him last week. We always have good fun. And we had a vocalist called Kyra. So I've got a track with her and China Charmeleon, a South African guy who I rate. So he sent me an instrument. So I met him at Defected in Ushuaia in Ibiza. And I was talking to him about the Afro thing. And he says, I've got a track that I believe in. Let me send it to you. So he sent it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I worked it up, made it a bit tougher. Got Kyra to do the vocals on it, sent it back to him. And then King Street Sounds signed it. So that comes out, I think, the 28th of Feb, something like that, end of Feb. So we're excited for that because King Street Sounds is quite an iconic, like US or New York record label. So, people like Dennis Ferrer and, Blaze and people like that, they've all released on that label. So it's quite an iconic one. So yeah, the creative, I mean, in terms of, I love a Fab Filter. God Particle is a wicked little plugin.
Yeah, the mastering chain, right?
Yeah, mate, it's sick. Like you just turn it on and it just feels like it comes a lot more to life.
Yeah.
So once we cut the record and we make sure everyone's happy, which sometimes takes ages, like this record that I'm doing at the moment, we've only just revocaled it. Although we made it a year ago, that comes out in about June time. Sometimes it could take forever. I mean, the track that I had that just come out on Friday, that's 18 months old. Like I didn't think anything was happening with it. It's weird sometimes the music game. So yeah, once we get to a place where we're happy, we'll cut the extended and the radio version. So the radio version is for streaming. Some radio edits now. I was speaking to Jordan Peak about this the other day. He says someone's done a radio edit about 1 minute and 10 seconds or something. It's like, this is ridiculous. But I get it. They'll play it a few times on Spotify. You get more streams. There's an art to this. But also Radio 1, they won't play anything over 3 minutes anyway on radio. So you've always got, I try and cut my radio edits about 2:45, something like that. I think that's the sweet spot. So we cut the radio and extended. Then I'll get a stem master from a guy called Justinus. Aaron Ross, who's Jonas Blue manager. I've known Aaron. I booked Aaron we used to book him for our Christmas party to DJ because we used to listen to him on One Extra 20 odd years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it was weird. Obviously him and Sam are good friends. They worked together at Defected for a long time. Yeah. Aaron's been really helpful. I've had a couple of records signed to his record label he's got with Jonas called Electronic Nature. So it's been cool to link up with Aaron. One day when I'm a bit bigger, I think Aaron's going to be my manager. That's one day. Yeah.
How's it doing like the legal stuff? Like no one really hears about this stuff, and I'm always intrigued to know. Like, how do you do the legal stuff of like drafting up? Because like you said, you're a quick learner. You run businesses and stuff, and it kind of shows that when you're making a track, getting these writing camps. So how does the whole legal process work with like, right, you're getting this and that and drafting it up, like the contract for a track?
So I guess the majority of legal contracts are off the shelf type, whether you're buying a house or buying a whatever, they're typically off the shelf pro formas that are amended. So because Defected own part of Dvine Sounds, their team just do all that side. With Famous When Dead, my record label, I've got Circuit Group. So Circuit Group, they manage Fisher, Chris Lake, etc. So they've got a label servicing department run by a guy called Cy Berkhamshaw, who used to work for Label Works. So Label Works is obviously distributor. So he now works for them, and it's expensive for what it is. But literally, I send him a master and I send him artwork and I send him a pitch, and they deliver it all. So they do all the legals. It's all e-cigs. They send out the email. They sign it electronically. It gets sent back, and boom, done. So that's how I do it with my label, and that's how I do it with Dvine Sounds. But yeah, and sometimes we'll send the contract to someone. Like normally Famous When Dead, it's a 50-50 deal because obviously it costs money the label needs to make money as well. But a lot of deals out there are like 70-30. Like, I've signed deals that are 70-30. And if there's 3 artists on there, like, a vocalist and 2 producers, then, you could be in for 10% of a record. So, as we know, 1 million streams is only like $3,000. So, if you're only getting 10% of £3,000, if it does 1 million streams, you're only getting 300 quid. And there would have been certain, and most contracts are after costs as well. So, if we sign a track, we might do a 50-50 deal, but there's artwork to consider. There's all these other things to consider, which are going to obviously have to come off before we look at the profit on the record. So, it's not unusual for me to put, if I put a playlist promo campaign, that's 750 quid. You can do an influencer campaign on TikTok where it's like, that's £2,500, where you basically what happens is you get your song, all these big influencers will get your song and then do a trend to it. And the one that gets the most views wins the prize money. So they'll put up, you'll put £2,000 up as an influence campaign. The company will take, I guess, the management cost off of that. And then there'll be money available for people to use the track to get the most streams. And then hopefully, I did it with one of my records, and off the back of it, you hope that there's then some organic growth from people seeing it. So I've had a video that was viewed like 5.5 million times.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
I think 80 of those videos were paid for, in essence. People were doing it because they wanted to win the prize money. But then the rest of the videos were like organic because they saw someone use that music. So, oh yeah, that would be a cool TikTok channel. But again, I'm not here to be famous or, make it because someone's seen a bloody TikTok video. That would be ridiculous. I'm here to, just try and, as I say, seek some validation and some respect as a DJ and a producer. I like to think that people, when they come and see me DJ, they appreciate my taste in music. They appreciate the journey that I take them on. I like to go on a bit of a journey from 110 BPM all the way up to 135. Obviously, it depends on. Man. Yeah, I'll make the warm up set's my favorite. I like first hour and a half. Just give me that room and let me warm it up. Yeah. I'll be coming at you with some wicked, just down tempo stuff all the way up to wherever I need to take it. I'll ask the next DJ what BPM do you want me to leave you on?
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool, man. And I honestly the social media aspect and all these where you're joining these group things and that. I think it's great that you've mentioned that now because it's so different from I've got to get my track to Pete Tong on Radio 1 to play it. It's more about this now, right? And like you said earlier in the podcast, you have to adapt to everything that as it moves forward. And I think that's a great way of explaining it. And how do you even find these these trend things, where you join in and win the prize money? How do you even find that to get involved?
There's just companies out there that they sell that service. So it's influencer campaigns, whether it's a piece of clothing or whether it's a song or whatever, there's people out there that will do it. And there's marketing companies out there, Listen Up and Your Army and whoever else that will pitch and support your music and get them into the hands of the people that need to get them. There's people out there that you can pay to do radio plugging, when you want your track on radio. But a good tune is a good tune, so you can't sell something that's rubbish. Do you know what I mean? If a tune's good, but I sometimes question my musical taste though, because I'm like, how is that so big? It's who listens to that? I think it's rubbish, but I suppose it matters. I mean, Sticky, Miss Dynamite's, who made Boo with, he said to me, he says, one person's apple's another person's orange, so which means to say you might like an apple, but someone else might prefer an orange, But I think how you get a tune big is it has to be liked by a lot of people. And don't forget that, even Sam still buys music off of Beatport. We get promos everywhere, left, right, and centre. Yeah. But we still buy music on Beatport if we want to tune Traxsource, and sometimes it's easier to buy it than it is to ask the person to send it. It's almost disrespectful sometimes to can you send me that tune? Do you know what I mean? But we do enjoy breaking new music as well. It does for me when I do the Dvine Sounds monthly mixes or on radio. I do enjoy bigging people up and making sure that because that little pat on the back that you get from a peer, is good. I think it makes you want to carry on doing it because it is very easy to give up this game.
It is, yeah, and that's why I do this podcast. I mean, I don't do it for fucking money or anything like that. I do because I love meeting people. I love hearing the stories. I'm a bit of a geek at heart when it comes to all this stuff anyway. My passion for this is massive. And yeah, same thing, man. Like, I just love hearing people's stories. It's wicked. And like, yeah, like with like when you said about Alex Mills, my favorite track with her was with No Official Colours, Crying Wolf. That was one of the biggest tracks I've ever liked. And, yeah, and then I saw you in the studio, T. Williams. Am I right there?
Yeah. So basically me and Input's like, because this studio's had a flood. I can't turn the lights on because it will trip it trips everything off. So yeah, this is like Halloween podcast.
Studio lighting, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got the torch on. So yeah, T. Williams. So T. Williams is a G. So I've always loved T. Like, he's amazing. Like I really like the stuff that he did with Fulo Bashmore not so long ago. I was playing, me and Sam, in fact, I think it was called Bubbling, and Sam was like, Sam playing it. It was just like, we don't think anyone likes this song apart from us, but it's such a sick tune. In fact, I should send to you them videos. Anyway, what I was going to say, yeah, so T is someone that I've respected a lot, and I like his production style. I like his sound. I like his diversity and his range. I mean, I think one of his first bits of music that he put out was on Johnny Cash's label, and Johnny Cash from West London, from Kilburn. So I always thought, yeah, that's sick. Anyway, so I was with T. We went onto the Stay True boat in Croatia, Defected. So Kid Funk, he's fucking amazing as well. Like, he's probably one of my favorite DJs. He's such a cool guy. He runs a record label called Stay True. So he works for Defected as well, doing all the South African A&R.
Yep.
And yeah, we were on their boat, and me and T were on there, and CO, and I don't know if you know who CO is, but he's done an album with CO, which I've listened to, which is amazing. And she was DJing, and she's such an amazing performer. So yeah, we were just having a jam on a boat, and I was like, I've got this tune that I've done that's similar sort of sound to like what you do, and it's got a girl called Ra on it. So I don't know if you know who Ra is, but she's just done that tune with Prosper. Is it called The Rhythm? It's gone massive. So she was in a writing camp that we did a year ago. And I sent it to T. I says, what are you saying? And I think it was about the time when that Prosper tune was blowing up. And so, yeah, he jumped on it. And yeah, we revocaled it last week. And we're just working it up now to the finished version. But yeah, it's called Summer Breeze. And yeah, it's got Ra on it. And it's me and T. And yeah, it's a sick tune. Like, it's that, and the one I've done with Reigns called Take It Down. Is I'm betting my house that they're gonna. Well, look, I like them. You might not like them, but I think they're I think they're beautiful pieces of music, and I think they've got good crossover potential. And Ra and Reigns are both amazing people that deserve to smash it. Like, I'd actually get more enjoyment out of them taking their careers to the next level than me. As I say, I'm just here to have fun. And just, if I can play out a couple of times a month, if I can make some music, if I can buzz off seeing, I'm doing decent, to hit nearly 50k streams for me. I remember 12 months ago, and this is a message to anyone that, any aspiring artist out there that is thinking about giving up. Like, it's hard, at this time last year, I think I had like 1k monthly listeners, and like, I've done about 5k streams. Like, it's pathetic. Like, fast forward 12 months. Like, I think I even posted my Spotify rap, like, tongue in cheek, like, look how amazing I am. Like, it's horrendous. Fast forward, like, I never ever thought I'd be able to get to 50k streams, and I didn't know how you could do it.
It's amazing.
But again, it hasn't happened overnight. So again, anyone out there that is thinking that this is too hard work or it's never going to happen, just have some patience. As I say, some of these people out there, they haven't just arrived. They haven't just turned up. The odd one or two have just had that one tune that's blown up. Yeah. Even people like Prosper and Max Dean and Luke Dean and those kind of people, they've been around forever. Yeah. When what was that tune? That In the Lobby tune? Was that Max Dean or Luke Dean? One of them anyway.
One of them, yeah.
So I said to Sam, I says, reach out to one of them, see if they've got any demos. So she went to her messages, and she saw one of them messaged her like 4 or 5 years ago. But obviously, when it comes through message requests, you don't always see their messages.
Yeah.
Just like saying hi. I think it was a message almost saying something like, I'm a big fan on, blah, blah, blah. Like, And then 4 or 5 years later, they've got one of the biggest tracks on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So I think everyone just needs to have a bit of patience. Don't get me wrong. You need a lot of luck in anything that you do. Hard work for me is a calculation of, or luck is a calculation of hard work and determination. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The more harder you work, the more luck you get.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just here working hard.
I think hard work beats talent. I watched this guy Matt Armstrong on YouTube, and he says the same thing.
The car guy.
Yeah.
What's he just bought? A Cullinan or something? He just bought a Rolls Royce. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's got nothing to do with music, but like it inspires me a lot because he's like, I did like Indian delivery takeaway deliveries when I was younger, right? And then I just worked on an Audi TT, and he's like, I just hard work to be talented, so I'm not skilled in anything. Like, but going back on T Williams, so I've got to say, so I did a podcast at a festival in Canada here called Bass Coast, and he played it twice. And I interviewed him the first time. I was like, "Oh, I know you're over here. Can I get you in the tent?" And then we got on really, really well, and just talk about like back in the UK and stuff. And the second time round, I was just like, I went on stage to see Interplanetary Criminal.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, we had a smoke and a drink together, and then I went back to the tent, and there's T standing outside my tent with Ardalan, and they're just standing there, and I was like, "What are you boys doing?" Because I bought a big like canvas like tent and built a studio inside it.
Yeah.
And I said, "How long have you been standing here for?" He was like, "Oh, about 40 minutes, but it's all right." I was like, "Is there anything you need? Do you want a beer?" Because I had beers in my tent. He's like, "No, can we do like a podcast? But Ardalan can come on." He brought his like mate with him, and I was like, "Yeah, you ain't got to ask me. Like, just help yourself, like and just give me a text and I'll come along." He's like, "It's all right if we both do it." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool." It was really good.
I think his missus might be from Canada. Because when I was with him the other day, I just assumed he lived in London. He's like, "No, I think he lives by the coast or some Margate or somewhere." And he was with his missus, and she's either American or Canadian. But I have a feeling it was Canadian.
Yeah, because he came out quite a bit, and we got like some dinner together and that, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm out here all the time." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
Oh, that must be why then. That must be why.
Yeah. But
Nice.
he brought Ardalan with him. I never really knew who he was, and I realised he was on like, we know Justin Martin and Dirty Bird and all that sort of thing. But it was quite amazing to see that. It was good.
Cool.
What's the future plans in for your label, for yourself? Like I know you've got some music coming out, but like what are the future plans, and what we expected to see from Cash Only?
Yeah, so 2025, we've got pretty much all the music programmed for the whole year now, which is a blessing and a curse in some respect, because if you make a track, if you already got your schedule, you don't really want to start messing around with it. But yeah, the good thing is I've got that all sorted, and they'll either release on other labels or on my own label. But as I say, I'm telling everyone at the moment, just retain your independence. Yeah, what's the point in giving away so much of your own, property, really? Okay, there's benefits. If there's a label, a dream label for you to be on, it makes sense. But at the same time, don't give your hard work away. If there's not, I spoke to another artist recently, and he was saying he's only letting labels sign his tunes if they give him a gig. Like, 'cause you're not really making money on the music, and it's just helpful to have those gigs, and it makes sense, and it's something that I think artists should think about as well when they're negotiating deals with people. So yeah, we've got music coming out all year. A lot of it is afro inspired over the summer. We're going to go a little bit more clubby as we get towards the winter months. So yeah, that's 2025 musically. Famous When Dead, we got our first release, and this is an interesting one actually. So the first track that comes out on Famous When Dead Records, the story of how I signed that was I just woke up in defected Croatia, and my mate was at Pikes in Ibiza, and he sent me a video of this tune. He's like, he sent it me. So what's this tune? I said, I don't know, but it's sick, and give me 24 hours and I'll find out. So I messaged everyone that I knew who had links with Pikes, like, who's this DJ, blah, blah, blah. as it turns out, you couldn't Shazam it because it wasn't out.
Yeah.
As it turned out, it was from a guy called Sinker, and he was playing it, and I reached out to him. Someone sent it me, and then I signed it. So yeah, that's how I signed that record, and I play it every set. And yeah, we think it's going to be, a pretty good record. Well, it is a good record. I hope it does well numbers wise. But yeah, in fact, two of the so I've only signed on Famous When Dead 3 records. Two of them I heard being played out live or was sent them, and then the other one was just a beautiful song from a guy who lives in Koh Samui called Constantine Cobra. They just sent me like a folder of this beautiful music, and I thought, yeah, it's not like right for Dvine Sounds. We need more clubby stuff, but I just want for Famous When Dead. I just want to sign music or put music out from myself that I love and that I play in my sets, and that's the same with Dvine Sounds. We won't sign a record at Dvine Sounds now unless Sam plays it.
Yeah.
So and the problem is that because Sam plays such big shows, it's difficult to break new music as well.
Yeah.
So it's got to be really strong. And also a lot of what we both play are edits. So they're always difficult to get cleared. And again, we don't want to keep recycling the same, like vocal. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's, it seems to be at the moment, the biggest music is rehashing the things from 10 years ago or garage edits that have blown up or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to make music and put music out that I love and connects with people. And then, Famous When Dead, we just want to go on this whole kind of music and art kind of exploration, do some more merch.
I love that. Yeah.
I'm working with a guy from E1, the nightclub at the moment, who's ace. He's amazing. And he believes in me and he wants me to put on a show at E1. And it'll be sick because in the main room, you can put all the artwork on the big screens on the ceiling. So I think that there's some real opportunities here to kind of fuse that whole art and music thing. I'm even inspired with like things like the Cortez thing, the Cortez, the brand, the streetwear brand, the kind of guerrilla marketing ideas that they come up with, how they've kind of built this whole community and like, this whole desire, this whole kind of fear of missing out thing, how we can, can we intertwine something like that with Famous When Dead? Can we, in essence, you don't buy a ticket to the rave, you buy a t-shirt, and if you buy a t-shirt, you get a free entry to the rave kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that the way to do it? And then, you get people coming wearing the collectible t-shirts. So, I mean, I think I've done 3 football shirts or soccer shirts.
Yeah.
And then 3 or 4. Yeah. So go on the, or in fact, message me your address and I don't normally do international shipping. But for you,
ship it to my mum's house in Essex.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah. I send you some. I've even done socks. So yeah, just keep. I love fashion. I love art, and I love music. I just want to keep bringing that together. That was the idea of Cash Only all them years ago. All the artwork for the Famous When Dead releases is done by Famous When Dead, the artist. I had to ring him up and because I always thought Famous When Dead would be such a sick name for a record label.
Yeah.
But I was I felt bad, asking him to use his name.
Yeah.
But I think, hopefully he takes it as a compliment. I mean, look, he's just a down-to-earth guy I think he just works as a graphic designer in a day. But yeah, check his work out. It's very, wild and wacky. And I think that we can do some really cool stuff. So the label artwork's really cool. He's been working up. I need to chase him up actually and get that delivered because we've got our first release soon. So yeah, touring wise, we're just trying to make, we did 40 shows last year. So I want to do 40 shows again this year, but, maybe make them better shows. So some of the shows that I didn't have to do or didn't quite work out, can we innovate that? But the problem is that I'm not sure if I want an agent. I mean, I managed to get 40 gigs off my own back.
That's cool. Yeah.
If I get an agent, which, I think I am sellable, as I say, my streaming numbers are good. My chart positions are good. Every gig that I ever get, I always get asked to come back and play. So I must be good at DJing. But yeah, if I get an agent, then I think they could typically send me on the road to, do you know what I mean, to work.
Yeah.
And I want to be in a position where, again, I retain my own independence and I don't, I don't want to go to Poland on a Friday in February, like I'm all right. I'll stay at home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also Sam's touring schedule is so mad, and like, you know, she prefers it if I come with her as well. So yeah, so it's about finding that kind of balance, I guess. And as I say, I'm not looking to be the next Sonny Fodera, Low Stepper, Sam Dvine,
Oh, it's
whoever.
just a passion,
You
mate.
know, I'm just here doing what I love doing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just ticking along. As I say, probably got, you know, I'm gonna be 50 soon, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be.
36 this year, and I'm feeling it, mate. I'm getting close to the big 40.
Oh, and I'm quite deaf as well. Whenever I play back to back with someone, they're like, "Oh my god, how loud are your headphones?" So
Yeah, my wife always complains about it because my mum and my granddad were both born without eardrums in the right ear, so I'm a bit mutton in the right ear, yeah. And my missus, when she has a go at me, I turn my right ear to her so I can just ignore her sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when me and Sam walk down the road, I always have to go on a certain side so that she can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I do want to ask you is how was Japan? Because that's somewhere I really, really would love to go. Like, how was that experience there?
Yeah, so we took the opportunity in the break to so we're big into food, me and a couple of my mates, and one of my best mates is Jack Blumenthal, which is Heston Blumenthal's son, you know, the fat duck guy. So, you know, right into food, and me and the boys were like, where should we go? Should we go to Dubai? Oh, we always go to Dubai. So sick of golf and sick of drinking. Why don't we try and do 21 Michelin stars in 9 days? So we booked 24 Michelin star restaurants, and we started with 3 stars in London by Heathrow at Core by Claire Smith.
Yeah.
So we had 3 before we even left. And yeah, we tried to do that, but we made some fuck ups along the way. The first day the restaurant we went to wasn't even open. So but because there was 3 of us all booking, it just got very messy.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of them wasn't open. 2 of them weren't open, and one of them we didn't turn up to because we were too hungover. So yeah, but we ended up doing 19 Michelin stars in 9 days. So how was Japan? Japan, the service in the hotels is incredible. I've got my hat on here from Four Seasons Osaka.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
on a world class hotel.
Yeah.
So yeah, the service in all the hotels is amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, everything's so clean. The innovation and the way that they do things is super organized. I didn't really see any poverty. So it's not like Thailand where, you know, you see affluence, but then you also see like people asleep on the street and everything. So yeah, it was an experience. I won't be rushing back. From a culinary point of view, obviously we have different palates. Mm-hmm. So one of the oldest Michelin starred restaurants in the world we went to, and their speciality is a boiled egg. Right. And yeah, we just, it was disgusting. Like it was like sea cucumber, like I don't know, fish clitoris or something. I don't know. It was all sorts of weird stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went, but we did go to some places which were pretty cool. Yeah, nightlife. We went to this mad nightclub. Weirdly, actually, the day we landed, Salado were there.
Oh,
so
right.
So I messaged Mark and James, and I was like, "Wait, we're in Tokyo as well." So we linked up with them, and the Salado boys, they like a party. So yeah, it was wild times. I went to bed, but yeah, I think they stayed out till whatever time. But yeah, they played to what seemed like a good crowd. But before we met them, we went to this like little club, and it was just mental. There was like a woman. They were playing really fast dubstep, and you were being served by people dressed as babies and in nappies. It was like right weird. Right. We said to the woman, "Have you got a cloakroom?" She says, "Yes, come back 2 minutes." Come back. It was like £2 or whatever. Come back with a massive bag. And she said, "Put your coats in there." So we threw all our coats in this bag, picked it up, put it over her shoulder, and then threw it in a storeroom. All the toilets are automated, so they like wash your bum and like dry it. Yeah, the Totos, I think they're called. Yeah, they're sick. So it's just a long way to go and the time difference. So it's 15 hours, and the 9-hour time. So 15-hour flight and the 9-hour time difference. So it was quite difficult in staying abreast of everything. I felt like it's almost like how you feel when you go to LA or somewhere like that. It just feels like, you know, the other side of the planet, and like when it's like it's ages before people in England are waking up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's hard to get anything done. And the trains, that bullet train, oh my God, why haven't we got bullet trains in England? The bullet train is so sick. Rapid. It's amazing. it's fast, but
Yeah.
so it pulls into the platform. A team of cleaners go on, clean it, and they turn all the chairs around so you're facing the way the train goes, right? What else? It's got They got security guards on there who've got knives, which we thought was a bit strange, but yeah.
Wow.
And ticket inspectors and everything. And mate, it's just unbelievable. The first class, amazing big lounge chair. And also, so when the ticket inspectors walk through, every time they get to the door, they have to turn around, bow, turn back around and go out. And they have to do that every time they go into different carriages.
Yeah.
So Japan was, it's very clean, super efficient. The food in the majority was good. Just I'm glad I've been, but I'm not rushing back. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any gigs there anytime soon either, unless I play really fast stuff.
Oh, is that the thing over there? Is it?
I don't know what it is. I don't know, but it was very crazy music. It was like a fun fair.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's wild, man. I always want to go there because obviously just experience it, but that's wild.
Yeah, definitely culturally, it is amazing.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to like brush up on or plug before we leave? In the podcast, is there anything you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, I like to if anyone ever wants to reach out, you can get my email. It's cash@djcashonly.com. If you've got any demos, promos, edits, anything you want to send, feel free to send it. We get that many that we can't always come back to everyone on them. And yeah, as an emerging artist, even myself, I think people just need to take time and have patience, trust the process. Sometimes I get inundated with demos from, certain people, and it's like, quantity, or quality, not quantity. Yeah. So, don't send me a demo every week. That just it just turns me off a bit. Like, I'd rather hear from you every maybe 2 or 3 months, here's 3 tracks that I've worked up, but yeah, other pet hates. So I've got 3 pet hates, actually. The first one is, hi, can I send you a demo? Like,
send it.
It's like you're it's not you're annoying me, but it's like you're slowing the process down already. Just send the bloody thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to ask. The second one is everyone telling me that their track's a summer record. I've got his track. It's the summer record.
It's the record. Yeah.
everyone thinks their record's a summer record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then the last one is then when people send demos and they're not downloadable. So how we sign music at Dvine Sounds, the only way we sign it is we'll take your music, we'll download it, we'll throw it into our Dropbox, and then when we're creating our playlist for our sets, we'll pull them out to what we think the crowd are going to like. And we only sign tracks off of road testing. So we don't me and Sam don't just sit in the kitchen or in the studio or whatever and listen to music. We might do that, but then we'll only sign it or come back to you if we play it out and it gets a notable reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So as I say, predominantly how we sign records is we will reach out to people, who we found a track from that we really like. I mean, I can think of a few people that's happened with, even like Jordan Peak. I reached out to him. I used to play some of his stuff. We had a record from him on the label. Who else? Other people, Chico Rose, we were playing a wicked track of his last year. And as it turned out, we actually signed a record off him on the label back in when Jess and Camilla were running it with Sam. So yeah, it'd be cool to have something off him. Lefty, as I say, I think people need to think that your biggest demo is your most recent release. And, because don't forget, we A&Rs and label managers, we don't just sit there and just sift through demos. We also want to know that you can sell and shift records as well. It's, we're not just buying a record to massage, your ego or our ego or whatever. Ultimately, this has to make money. It costs a lot of money to put a track out. All the artwork, all the pitching, all the mastering, blah, blah, blah. It's not cheap. So it's got to make a profit, and it's difficult to make a profit in this day and age because, tracks that might have been streaming really well years ago, nowadays they're not, as I say.
How much would it cost you roughly, sorry to cut you off there, mate. How much does it cost roughly, like, to get the whole package done and release it, like a ballpark sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I guess if I'm releasing a track, it depends on how much my studio engineer costs, etc. is blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But say, so engineers, they can cost you anything from £400 to £1,000 a day. Just depends on who you use. So, and anyone out there as well that is struggling a little bit to get their tracks out there. I put a lad that I talk to a lot. I won't mention who he is, but he's had quite a few things signed recently, something on Tool Room, and he was struggling to get his tracks over the line with labels. Anyway, I linked him up with an engineer down in London that I work with quite a lot. And all of a sudden, he's had tracks signed to Tool Room, Flash Mob's label, blah, blah, blah. He's got music getting signed, and having that engineer work, you can give them the project and they can work it up. It might cost you £500 a day, but they might get 3 or 4 of your sketches, work them up to a point where they are actually sounding proper now. And in essence, almost semi-master them and get the mix better. Do you know what I mean? It costs money, but it's often better in my opinion. So yeah, I think, just little bits of advice for people really, have patience, use the people around you to the best ability, network like mad. Sam said something interesting. I'd like to play for, Forward Motion guys, Kai and Stephen C. And they've done a show in Manchester. And Sam says you can't expect to play somewhere if you haven't been to the event, and it makes sense. If you want to play somewhere, go to the party, meet the people, get in with them. Make yourself valuable. Can you sell tickets? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he just done one at a church, didn't he, Kai?
Yeah. I was talking to him about it. Yeah, he's found the Lord. So yeah, man. He's had a bit of a rough year, but he seems like he's doing all right. And Forward Motion was on yesterday, so them guys are sick at what they do, and all the videos and everything are always really cool. So yeah, one day, maybe I'll play for them. But yeah, you can't expect to play for a party if you haven't been per se. If you're an emerging artist,
for sure, yeah, you got to be shown to show up, ain't you? Like anything really. But no, honestly, Matt, I appreciate your time. I really do. I've loved having this chat. I've loved hearing mainly about you and your story, and how you grew up, like influences, just everything. It's been absolutely amazing for me. Anyway, I enjoy doing this. I love to help people out as well. Just the best I can. I'm not massive, but I like to help the best way I can.
Yeah, it's amazing, mate, because people like you are important. You don't have to do this. You do this because you believe in it and because you love it and because it's your passion. I'm sure it drives you mad at times. But it's for the love of music. We're all here doing that. So yeah, I'll take my hat off to you, and well done.
It's to you too, mate, as well.